And I wanted to ask you a question about standing out on the independent scene. So I was telling you off the air, I used to promote shows back 2000, 2002. And back then, the Attitude Era was still going on. Like wrestling was still really, really hot. You broke in, I think, 05.
Yeah.
Is that right? So wrestling was kind of cooling off a bit at the time. And when I was doing shows, you had WWE, you had WCW, you had ECW. A lot of people were breaking into the business. When you got in, like I said, things were cooling off a bit, and you no longer had WCW, and you no longer had ECW. How did you get noticed? How did you make yourself stand out? Especially since I imagine there were probably less shows going on, smaller crowds at that time. Like, how were you able to make yourself stand out and get noticed?
Well, it was a lot of trial and error. I don't think I stood out and got noticed for probably the first 5 to 7 years of my wrestling career. I would say around 2012 is when I started like getting a little bit of momentum. But you know, when all that shut down, WCW and ECW and all the other stuff, like you were saying, like we had my generation, that 2005 generation, had the Ring of Honors and the Impact Wrestling and all this other stuff to look up to. So we had something else, and like that style, much because of like Low Key and Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, all these guys, they were doing things that you never saw in ECW and WCW. So they revolutionized the business and changed it. We were all just trying to like learn and catch up on the go in 2005, and it certainly changed because in like 2012, 10, 12, like that's when social media really became a part of wrestling too, to help get noticed. So you started seeing people getting noticed for different reasons, for what they were doing in the ring or for traveling and all this other stuff. So you just like, I had to find my niche, and my niche was always just stick to the wrestling, stick to what you're good at, and like make that like the reason why people want to buy a ticket to see me, more than, you know, merch, social media, all this other stuff.